Guten Tag, Studentin. Wie geht's? Hoffentlich sehr gut. Frau Herrmann hier und heute lernen wir die Verbendungen. Auf Seite 36 bitte. Ja, machen Sie die Bücher auf. Verb, infinitive, and present tense. Okay? Every verb is in the infinitive form when you're learning it. Okay? Or in the dictionary. In the back of the textbook here or in the back of the chapter, you'll see all the verbs are going to end in en. Okay? For example, auf Seite 48, arbeiten, besuchen, bleiben, diskutieren, essen, fahren, and so weiter. They're all in that infinitive en form. Okay? And you're wondering, well, how do I find the stem of the verb? What's the main part of the verb kommen? Okay? Well, if you look at the verb kommen and drop that en, you'll have the main form of the verb kommen, which is komm. Okay? Ich komme, du kommst, kommt, wir kommen, ihr kommt, und sie kommen. That's conjugating a verb. You go through all the pronouns and you go through all the endings. Okay? Some of the verbs, however, are irregular. When you're looking at the verb wandern and you see it ends in an ERN, you're not going to drop the ERN. You're going to just drop the end. So you have wander. Okay, that would be the main stem of the verb wandern. So you'd say, ich wandere, du wanderst, wandert. Okay, you're going to add the endings, the pronoun endings to that verb. Okay, Fragen? Gut, machen wir weiter. Notice auf Seite 36 you have the chart. Ich, du, sie, es, wir, ihr, sie. That's conjugating a verb. You go through all the pronouns and all the endings. And if you look at the subject pronoun ich, and you go across that row, you'll see that all the verbs end in e. Ich komme, ich finde, ich heiße. Okay? And that's always. Whenever you see the subject pronoun ich, the verb will always end in an e. Okay? No exceptions. Now look at the subject pronoun du. Du is usually used in a question, and you're usually talking to somebody or asking somebody that you know. You're on a first name basis with them. And if you go across the row there, you'll see you're going to add either an ST, an EST, or simply T. Now, why? Well, normally the ending for du is an ST. Okay, so du kochst, du lernst, du schwimmst, du spielst. Anytime a verb like finden, for example, the stem of the verb finden is find, F-I-N-D. And you cannot add an ST to a D. You can't say findst. Okay, you have to say findest. And since the stem of the verb heißen is heist, which is a double S, you're not going to add an ST to a double S. Okay, you're simply going to add that T. So it's du heist. Okay, so ST, EST, or T. Now look at the subject pronouns sie, and es. Is he, sie is she, and es is it. And you notice that for all three, the verb is going to end in a T. Kommt, sie kommt, es kommt. But again, notice finde. Findest was the do form. The es form of findest is findet. So you're going to add an extra E again because the stem of the verb D stem of the verb finden is find, and that's a D sound, and you can't add a T to a D. Okay, that's Deutsch. So you have to add an extra E, findet. Heist also simply adds a T. Okay, so the stem of the verb heißen is heist, so the es form is heist. What if you have a subject pronoun like Thomas, or Peter, or Helga? They're not up there on that chart, but Thomas is a he. Helga is a sie. Okay, and so you're going to use those endings for a person. So you'd say, for example, Thomas spielt Fußball. Helga schwimmt gern. Okay, those are also going to get a T. Now go down to the plural pronouns, wir, ihr, and sie. And you notice that the wir form, to find the main part of the verb kommen, you're going to drop the en, and then you're going to add it again. So wir kommen. Wir finden. Wir heißen. There's nothing irregular about those verbs in the wir form. Okay, notice the ihr form. That's the you all form of the pronoun, right? Ihr kommt is y'all are coming. Ihr findet, y'all are finding. Okay, so it's either going to be a T or an ET. And again, it depends on what the stem of the verb ends in. And the plural Z form is also an en. Wir kommen, wir finden, wir heißen. So let's say you're talking about Thomas and Helga. In English, you'd use the pronoun they. They're doing this, they're doing that. And so in German, you're going to use that en ending. Thomas und Helga fahren, Thomas und Helga finden, Thomas und Helga kommen. Okay, it's going to be that same e ending. There's nothing irregular about the wir or the z plural endings. If you look at the note underneath the chart, you'll see examples of those irregular verbs. Okay, so not all German verbs are going to follow the same format. Most of them are. If you, for example, you took the verb kochen, which is to cook, you'd say ich koche, du kochst, kocht, wir kochen, ihr kocht, und sie kochen. Okay? The next important thing to remember about the verb endings, at the bottom of page 36, yeah, unten auf Seite 36, you have how to translate the present tense in English. Hans tanzt wirklich gut. You could say in English it's either Hans dances really well, Hans is dancing really well, or Hans does dance really well. All three of those are English. You can see where English could be complicated for Germans, because Germans only have one verb. But there's three ways of translating that in English. The problem for us Americans is that when you go from English to German, if I said, Hans is staying home today, you'd want to say Hans ist bleiben, because bleiben is a verb to stay. But you can't say Thomas ist bleiben, okay? Thomas bleibt zu Hause. Only one verb. Make sure when you look over your sentences in Kapitel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, you only have one verb in the sentence. Okay? I'm going to attach two PowerPoint presentations. They're really not PowerPoint. They're really just slides. But if you want to do some extra work and make sure you understand those endings, then you can do the two slide presentations. Auf Seite 38 im Textbuch, you have Übung 8, and Übung 8 is a good exercise to do because it goes through all the verb endings. Okay, and if you need to refer back to page 36, do so. Don't learn a wrong ending. So, for example, under Übung 8, you see S1. That means person, first person. You look at the verb is heißen. It ends in S. That should ring a bell. And your subject pronoun is du. So you can go back to Seite 36, look at the du form, and it's heißt. Okay? And so you simply put a T on that ending. On S2, you notice that the subject is ich. Okay? So the ending for the verb is always going to be an E. Ich heiße Sabine Keller. Okay? Now remember, you have the endings to this exercise. If you pull down on the Lessons tab, and then click on the Lösung folder, you'll have all the answers to these exercises. Okay, so that shouldn't be a problem for you. You should have all the right answers there for you. Okay, so I'll attach the PowerPoint to an email so that you can double check your answers. Okay, and you know that you're doing it the right way. Okay, also, genug für heute. Verbendungen, ich, du, er, sie, es, wir, ihr, sie. Das ist alles. Ja? Tschüss für heute.